What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Monday evening player interviews were just had after the practice. You had Jeff Lebby, Ted Roof earlier today, meeting with the media. Walter Rouse, Petaway, Woody Washington, Andrew Anthony this evening. So yeah, before we get started, click the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like, comment, give us some suggestions here, your comments about what we're talking about. Today though. So guys, let's start with maybe the coaches on the coaches side of things with Jeff Lebby and Ted Roof meeting with the media. Jay.
I mean, I'll start with Roof. I mean, Roof had some interesting answers, I thought. I believe it was Jenny Carlson asked the question about linebacker depth and how many guys they played, and how many you would like to play as you move on the season, kind of that rotation. He mentioned 12 to 13 guys is who they played on Saturday. And I believe she asked, like, do you think nine's too many? He said, no, nine's not too many. They're wanting to play guys. Get a lot of reps. They're wanting to, even in, I think, like bigger games, they want to be able to put guys in and not have a huge drop off to give guys a little bit of a break. And we've talked about that kind of off season. I mean, you're going to have your guys like Stutzman, Kinnick as starters, but when you pull them out for a play or two, you need to have somebody come in there that's going to really still play well and not have a busted coverage or something. And really the linebacking group, I mean, you look at from what I watched on Saturday, Kip Lewis looked really good when he came in. Another one is Kobe McKenzie played really good in his time. So I think
Lewis,
that linebacker
Carter.
room, just that overall linebacker depth is really good.
Yeah, and with the linebacker room as a whole, last year to this year, it's completely been transformed, into which it was where you could only play 3 to 4 guys a game. Now it's where you feel comfortable running out there 5 to 6, maybe up to 7 guys a game. And Jay, I think you highlighted it best with Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie, right? With them, it's just kind of been, for Kobe McKenzie, it's been kind of more of the learning curve side, right? And for Kip Lewis, it's been more of the physically, right? Because he's only 206 pounds. He's really light for a linebacker. So I think that's been holding each one of them back. But I think if you just have dudes that can go out there and make plays, and I know that Brent Venables has said before he loves dudes that just make plays. Those dudes make plays, so they're going to find ways to get on the field.
Yeah, and one other thing I'll say about Roof before we move on to Lebby maybe, but Roof, another thing he said is just when it was the 3s and 4s that ran there, the 1s and 2s were just cheering them on, like they wanted the shutout so bad, like protect our shutout, just the team involvement and the chemistry of just everybody supporting each other, wanting to get that shutout for them. I thought that was really good. Really enjoyed that.
That's the word culture that we've used over and over again, that I probably use too much, as Jay would say. I use that word a lot, but it's actually, we know it takes time to build, and it seems like BV and staff has built that it's becoming exactly what they wanted. And something else that's becoming exactly what they wanted, and maybe what we thought it would be last year, is the speed on offense. Jeff Lebby talked about the speed of the offense across the board. And he wasn't the only one. Butch Jones made a very interesting post-game comment when he talked about that he hasn't seen a speed, the differential from watching it on film and then seeing it live and in person, that's the most difference he's seen as far as speed. I don't remember exactly what he said. He may have said ever. Okay, that is a huge statement. You look at who they lost last year on offense: Eric Gray, Marvin Mims,
Braden Willis.
But Marvin Mims was a speedster. And I think what Lebby is really getting at is he's not referring to the speed of the play calls, obviously. He's talking about the speed that they have at all position groups, and that it's very noticeable. What was your guys' take on that?
Well, I would just go with the guy that has a lot of speed is Gavin Freeman. And that's the quote that's made the rounds, is really Jeff Lebby was asked about how so many coaches maybe undervalued Freeman, how he maybe wasn't recruited as highly, and how he ended up at OU. Basically, Jeff Lebby said that we're just blessed to have him. Gavin Freeman. We're just glad, right? He's the guy that we needed, that really has stepped up in this room to make a lot of plays this year. And also he just talked about the offense. I don't know the direct quote, but he just talked about the offense as a whole needing to continue to be more efficient and more clean and take care of the football, which I think is something they did decently well last year, was taking care of the football, but last year they weren't very efficient at all, right? It was a lot of quick three and outs and a lot of this and that. So those are two things that Lebby said to me that stood out.
Well, and Lebby, I think, called a great game the other day. And obviously it's Arkansas State. But what you can see from that is really offensively, the penalties were, I mean, minimal, right? Very few penalties. Offensive line paid great. But I think what Lebby did differently, which I really liked, is, and maybe it's because it's a year into the system, but do y'all remember last year, the first few games, I mean, we were loving it, how fast they were going, but it almost felt like they were rushing. This felt like they were going fast, but they weren't like, it was almost like natural. Like they would get there and lined up. It wasn't like, hurry, 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 we got to hike it. And I think he also did a good job of like going fast sometimes, but then sometimes not. Like he said, the defense was only on the field for 51 plays, guys. That's also contributed to the offense because the offense did have drives that were not boom, boom, touchdown. There were some drives in there and extended drives, and that's going to help the defense this year, guys.
Yeah, the offense overall, Dylan Gabriel was 9 of 9 over the middle of the field, which is very impressive. Perfect over the middle of the field, that's where Sooner fans have been wanting him to go to.
And third downs.
And third downs were much better. Number one in the nation right now in third down conversion. But Petaway on that little flare is going to be hard to stop with his speed, Gavin Freeman's speed, Andre Anthony's speed down the field. Gibson can run too, and all these things. So, yeah, the speed factor was the difference. Let's talk about some of the player interviews here. Walter Rouse, I'll start with because I really paid attention to Rouse and Woody Washington. Jackson, I'll let you talk about Anthony and Petaway maybe here in a little bit. But with Walter Rouse, I mean, the guy's 6'6", like 320. Obviously, he stands out, but he also stands out in the way he speaks and handles just communication with the media. He's a great guy. Spent a lot of time there with the media. And out of Stanford, that's a huge get for OU to get Walter Rouse. He played great. He talked about the O-line, and he really talked a lot about Bill Beatenbow and the high expectations he has. And, you know, he mentioned the mistakes that they made, so that they're aware of some mistakes they made, but they also know how great they can be, which is echoing everything we thought about with the O-line and Bill Beatenbow. And then as far as Woody Washington, I think one thing that stood out to me is a lot about the Gentry Williams plays that he made. And he talked about Gentry being one of the smartest film guys, film study guys, mental guys in the room. So I thought that was impressive for a guy that young like Gentry Williams to be from Woody Washington, who is really a veteran, to give Gentry Williams that kind of compliment. I think that's a huge deal. Speaks volumes for Gentry Williams.
And I think we were able to see Gentry Williams really show why he's earned that cornerback 2 spot in camp on Saturday, obviously, because out of all the defensive backs, in my opinion, Gentry Williams maybe had the most impressive performance, because we really honestly didn't know like what Gentry Williams was going to be, because obviously he has like no experience really at all. He obviously is very young. He's very fast, athletic. All the stats that he has, like the 40, maybe the bench press, or maybe it's just whatever he has, it all is there. Now he just needed to go out onto the field and show it, which he did. And I think this is a cornerback room in which Woody Washington, he's given praise before to Makari Vickers and Josiah Wagner in previous interviews this year. So I would just say this cornerback room as a cohesive unit has done a great job.
Well, Woody had a great game the other day, because Woody, he got challenged, I think, 5 times that were targeted at him, and they were one-on-one coverage down the sideline, didn't do pass interference at all, tight coverage. And let's face it, this quarterback from Arkansas State, not good. I mean, his completion percentage for his career is like 40%. He's not a great quarterback, but it was still great coverage, contested the ball, made a play on the ball, didn't have a pass interference. Great job, Woody Washington. So, and then Petaway, moving on to Petaway, guys, 9 catches. True
on
freshman,
10
first
targets.
game, 9 catches.
On 10 targets, too. He had 9 catches, which is impressive. And I think he only ran 15 routes the whole game, which is like 70% about of his routes ran that he got the ball thrown his way.
He's really a guy that's going to be almost impossible to defend if you're going to do that little quick out to him.
Well, and here's the thing that's so exciting to me. When Jackson Arnold came in, he's throwing to Jaden Gibson. He's throwing to Jaquez Petaway. Freeman was in there. Guys, these are the next few years of players. And Jackson Arnold's getting to already throw the ball to him. I think that's huge. I think it's a huge advantage. The more Arnold gets in and you got these guys in there with him, it's the future of OU. I mean, when guys like Farouk leave, which could be next year, you got Gabriel leaving, you got all these guys leaving. I just think it bodes a lot.
And actually, he was asked about his relationship with Jackson Arnold, and he basically, to sum it up, he just said that Arnold makes life so much easier for him out there playing wide receiver, right? Because Arnold, as a true freshman, what was he, 9 for 9 or 11 for 11?
11 for 11. 11, something like that.
He just had an incredible day, and 9 of those completions were to Jaquez Petaway, okay? So you talk about they already have that chemistry there. I'm sure that they obviously had that mutual bond because they both came in the same recruiting class. That was Arnold's one and only receiver that actually came in as a true freshman in that class. So I think Arnold and Jaquez Petaway are going to be a special duo in the future at OU.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting this week, guys, as we get to the next game here, SMU. It's going to be interesting the depth that will play against SMU. You know, if it's not a huge lead, you know, which guys are going to be playing the big minutes. So that's going to be interesting. If you're not part of the Sooner Surge, click the subscribe button. We still have a whole lot of viewers viewing the stuff, but not hitting the button. Hit the button, subscribe. There's nothing to wait on. You don't have to worry. We will provide the content, all free of charge. Just click the button. We got several interviews this week. Got the play-by-play guy tomorrow coming on from SMU. We'll get a little preview of that team that's rolling into the Palace on the Prairie Saturday night, 5 o'clock. It's going to be under the lights late in that game. Going to be exciting. Till next time, guys. Boomer.